What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be talking about a new release horror film that was a Netflix original that I really didn't know a lot about when I went into this movie. I just saw some people posting about it online. And this is a film from China, and I absolutely love Asian horror films. Normally I'm really immersed with them. They have these super unique premises, and I was really excited to watch this one. And the film I'm going to be talking about today is Incantation. Incantation is directed by Kevin Ko, inspired by the true story of a family who believed they were possessed by spirits. This film follows a woman who must protect her child from a curse. So I was really excited to watch this movie. I really didn't know very much about it before I went in to see this film, and this movie was a huge letdown. I was really expecting something amazing. I watched the quick little teaser trailer on Netflix before it started, and I was like, wow, this is so incredible the way they're building suspense, but it ended up being a really sort of formulaic found footage film that really overstayed its welcome, which was unfortunate because it really had a lot of potential. So the beginning of the film, our lead character, Ronan, who is sitting at a computer and is essentially talking about these images that you're seeing on screen and how the brain perceives them and how we as people perceive certain things, and then showing you this like weird looking picture of this symbol. And this symbol is representative of this group that we learn about further on in the film, and she tells you to memorize it, to think about it in your head, and then to recite this thing, and that's what's going to protect you, and that's what's going to take care of you throughout the events of the film. And then what you get is these two dueling narratives, which are, you have modern day Ronan's character who, after this horrible tragedy of events, which is what we're getting a flashback to, she had to give up her child, and her daughter was at a foster care system, but now she's been out of the hospital and she's able to get her daughter back. And after she gets her daughter back, she brings her home, and all this weird shit starts happening. As per your normal found footage fare, weird shit starts happening to them, while at the same time you're getting the story of what happened to her, which caused her to lose her daughter, which is her and these other two men who have this, like, what they're implying, like a paranormal investigative show where they're going to this family who, from the looks of it immediately, they're very cultish. They worship this deity. They're doing this ceremony. They're very off-put at the fact that Ronan's character is there. They're like very much like, oh, she can't be here. She's not allowed to be involved in this. And then the weird stuff that occurs while they're there. But the problem that I have with this movie is the timeline is really just kind of all over the place. It's super messy. It's really not anything that you want to stay invested in early on, because you're jumping back and forth so much, and there's no clear-cut like title card sequences or anything that tell you where you are at any given moment in time, which I'm a person who likes abstract art house filmmaking, but in this certain circumstance, it feels just like sloppy storytelling where you're just jumping here and there. And this movie's about an hour and 50 minutes, almost 2-hour runtime. And it's really hard to kind of keep your focus immersed on what you're supposed to be engaged in with these characters. And that was really upsetting because there are some really cool visual sequences in this film. I didn't find anything in it to be like super scary, but there are some moments that are really well executed, some nuanced scares that I feel like a lot of films are not as strong with. It's disappointing because a lot of found footage films I feel like rely on jump scare, but this has a lot of things where you as the viewer are just forced to look at something scary, which I appreciated a lot about this movie. But the problem is that storyline just kind of jumping you all over the place to where it's really hard to attach yourself and invest yourself to these characters. Like early on, you're introduced to all of the people who worked at the foster home that were taking care of Ronan's daughter. That you're introduced to their characters and they don't really play into them super heavily, but then when they start getting killed off, you just don't really care because you've kind of jumped all over the place and it hasn't really kept your attention long enough for you to be like, okay, I'm attached to these people. I care about what's going to happen to these people. And that was unfortunate because I felt like this movie had so so much potential to be something so much more. And then when the third act comes around, it really takes its time to finish this film, which is unfortunate because you get to a certain point where I felt like they could have cut it off and said, okay, this is the movie, this is exactly what we want it to be, it can end right here, but it just kept going. And then even the twist at the film, which I can respect what the filmmakers were trying to do with the twist in this one, it just didn't really sit with me super well. It finished and I was like, okay, it was kind of gimmicky, but was the 2-hour run time of this really worth it? And overall, I would say no, it wasn't. It's too bloated. This movie could have probably been an hour and 20 minutes. The performances are all pretty decent. I feel like our lead character is 100% the strongest performer in this film, but because it's all over the place, it was really hard for me to really pay attention or care much for the other people in this movie. And that's unfortunate because I feel like it was a really cool concept that just wasn't utilized to the best of its ability. So that's my thoughts on Incantation. I don't have much more to say. I was excited to see an Asian horror film that was a Netflix original, but it just really let me down. So have you seen Incantation? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Leave me a comment down below and let me know what you thought. I thought this movie was not very good. It was really kind of all over the place. The performances were okay, but the runtime was way too bloated and it just didn't pay off in the way I wanted it to. As always, if you could like the video and subscribe to the channel, it helps me out a lot and lets me know the type of content you're looking for. I'm always putting out new material and look forward to getting more out for you in the near future. And as always, everyone, thank you so much for watching and have a great rest of your day.